If there's one thing I've discovered since sort of diving in at the deep end on my fleet of rubbish cars, it's that some cars want to work with you while others don't. You get the impression that one car, like the Safran, wants to live again. It wants to be free to do what it wants to do. It wants to get loaded. It wants to have a good time. Whereas other cars don't. Welcome to another Petroblog video on the 406 Coupe. You may remember from the fleet update video, what was it, about a month ago now, that I mentioned that the 406 Coupe wasn't running at the moment. To recap, it was in the paddocks. It was sort of moving cars around as we tend to do to keep the batteries charged up and keeps everything moving. And the throttle went to the floor, or the accelerator pedal went to the floor. All hell broke loose as the revs went up to the red line and beyond. At which point I just turned the engine off in a panic, just trying to protect the engine, and then it subsequently wouldn't start again. Following some advice on YouTube and doing some research on various forums, there was a chance that it was related to, bearing in mind that the throttle, the accelerator pedal itself was sort of going to the floor. And then when I did tighten it up, it was just in notches. It would sort of go halfway and then stop and then go again. So kind of self-diagnosed, if you like, that it's something to do with the throttle body or something to do with the throttle cable. A little bit of research online suggested that it could be between the throttle body and the air filter. So when Adam White and my brother-in-law Matt were down working on the Sunday after we'd finished working on the Safran, we started taking things apart, and it wasn't long before we discovered the problem. And it was all, as you can see, we had to drill this because it was rusted. That's been a common problem this week. Digressing again. The air filter itself had kind of exploded, capitulated, kaput. And there it is. There's the sorry remains of the air filter. And obviously damp had got to it. It's totally bizarre. I've never seen this happen to an air filter before. But it's still a bit soggy now, but I think that's probably because it's been raining overnight. So yeah, this was slowly being sucked in through potentially could have been sucked in via the air filter, through the throttle body. So obviously cleared that out and cleared out what was in there. There were bits in there, so the car would not start. Having done that, the car now runs beautifully. The car now runs better than since I've had it. So that's a real positive. So with that in mind, got chatting with Adam on WhatsApp, and we'd been discussing the bumper and the state of the bumper. And as you may know, if you know anything about 406 Coupes, front bumpers are expensive and obsolete. And I think when I looked last night before, there were a couple on eBay International, both of which were over £1,000. Good ones go for £1,000, and again, anyone knows more about this than I do can tell me otherwise, but I know they go for silly money. There's also one for about £300, but it's got damage. So Adam, who's a dab hand at bodywork, decided that he'd like to have a go at fixing this bumper. And anyone who knows me will tell you I prefer to restore than replace. I like to try to keep the car as original as possible. Let's cut a long story short and show you what the car's looking like this afternoon. Maybe not so beautiful as it was, but this is actually the best sight I've seen all week, because to get to this stage has taken far too many hours. It's been a tale of broken screws, rusted screws, irregular bolts, cable ties, hard to reach places. It's been an absolute nightmare, to the point where you kind of think this isn't worth it. I'm going to go inside and play Gran Turismo or something. It hasn't been easy. My hands will testify to that. There's been more blood spilt this week than all year. Let me try and take you through the problems. I did find on the internet a guide to removing the front bumper, and there's like anything in this sort of arena, it makes it look so simple. Just remove some fasteners, the mud shield, more fasteners, tilt things forward, and away you go. there's actually blood on this. I've actually spilled literal blood on this bit of paper. Unfortunately, although that makes it look really easy, it probably would have been easy a week after the car was built. But obviously over time, bolts, fasteners and screws get rusted. And I mean, I've had to use hammer, I've used a saw. And actually the thing that saved the day in the end, the thing that got us through this nightmare, was this £2 tool from Lidl. Because this was brilliant at grabbing hold of rusty screws and sort of turning them. Again, I'm not saying that's the best way of doing things, but sometimes needs must, because you can replace screws, but if you're being held up by screws, kill them. Find something else. So I'm trying to think of the order I had to do it in the end. The first thing you do is remove the mud shield. The mud shield from underneath. One came off quite easily. One on this side, one on the off side came off straight forward. You can see all kinds of scrapes underneath where it's gone over speed ramps. So they're not in the best. This one's actually in better condition. They came off quite. Well, that one came off quite simply. This one refused to budge from the bumper, and even this was an even worse nightmare. Well, I don't want to relive the horror too much, but it just wasn't a fun experience getting all of this apart. Things got easier once they were off, but even then, the bumper itself is held on. Well, apart from the bits underneath the mud shield, you've got three holders here. You can see that wasn't me. That was already broken. I'm guessing that's part of when Mr. Pheasant Man decided to collide with the car. So that was already broken. These are going to need to be touched up. Moths, literal moths flew out of this when I removed this. There were a family of moths behind that. They've now flown the nest, gone. And there were two more underneath the mud shield at the back here, or the inner arch. And they had to go right up underneath. So you're up on the floor. The socket set was at its maximum leaning Tower of Pisa mode in terms of getting to the hard to reach places. So one disaster, and I'm not that fussed, but the washer fluid bit came off literally at the end of the job. That decided to snap. But that's the only disaster, or the only negative part of the only negative part of the actual finishing it off. The whole thing was a negative experience. So it's off. Adam thinks he can certainly replace and repair this. Sorry, not replace, he can repair this. So it's a good challenge for him. There is one thing I've said, and I'm prepared to be shot down in flames for this. You may remember that when the old guy who owned it before hit the Pheasant, he kind of bodged it in a nicest possible way. He kind of just bodged it and kept it going, I suppose, with screws and bits of plastic and gaffer tape. And for the lower part of the bumper, he used mesh, which I guess is mesh almost from a rabbit hutch or some sort of small animal. That cut my hand a few times getting that off as well. But I had to get that off just to sort of get underneath to get to various screws. I'm waffling here, apologies. But what I'd like to do in sort of honour of the previous owner, the one previous owner, is use mesh again. So it'd be a case of finding the best mesh, and sort of a tribute to the old guy. I quite like it. I think I'd make the mesh smaller. I think I'd make the gap smaller. But it'd be like an old Le Mans racer or something. But hey, that's my idea. So it won't be totally stock. Answers, send me your comments if you don't agree. Hello, goats. The goats don't agree. Sorry, goats. The other thing I'm going to do while the bumper's here, and before it goes off to Adam, is to look at the fog lights, see if I can remove that cloud in. So I'll be taking those off. And then I need to debate whether to paint them yellow. I mean, I'm jumping ahead here. This is kind of jumping ahead to when the good times are rolling, whether I paint them yellow or not. And at the moment, the answer is no, I'm not going to paint them yellow. The only thing I might have to replace is this, but we'll see. I've seen these on eBay. They go for about a tenner, I think. So I might have to replace this. That's a small sacrifice to make. And obviously now I'm going to need a new, either I can glue this or whatever, I'm going to have to get a new headlight washer module, which is a bit of a bummer. So it may look like there hasn't been much progress, and I suppose in grim reality there hasn't, but two major things have happened. The car is now running again, which it wasn't 2 weeks ago, and the bumper is now off, so that can go off to be replaced. And in the great scheme of things, the bumper's not that important. It would have passed an MOT. Well, it wouldn't have had an impact on the MOT in the bumper in its old state. But with it off, I can start to do other things. I can start to clean up underneath. I'm out of breath. You can see how hard I worked on this. And I can start looking at the brakes. Got the front wheels are off. Start looking at new tyres and stuff like that. And then we can get underneath. Now it's working again. We'll get a new air filter, change the plugs, change the oil while it's up in its ramps. I can change the oil. So basically start servicing it and doing what we did with the Safran. So, one more thing I want to show you before I disappear off your screens. A little nod to the past underneath the bonnet, which I hadn't noticed before. But look, upside down here, Peugeot Talbot stamped underneath the bonnet, which I think is brilliant. That's it. 406 is in progress. Many thanks for all the comments on the Safran. I will reply to them all. There's some very, very helpful comments in terms of getting the Safran moving and what to do on the next stage, in addition to getting 4 new tyres, because they're not great. I'm digressing. I'm going to cut this bit out. So, yes, things are happening. 406 progress is good. I don't know what I'm going to do on the next video. Maybe you can put some suggestions in the comments below. That's it. Many thanks to Paul Stanton, owner of a glorious Mark 1 Clio, for being the latest member of Club Petrol Blog. And the winner, if you like, of the Trim Max competition is Ben Hooper. Ben, if you're watching, it's coming your way to do what you want with. Thank you very much for all those who entered. Ben, you're the lucky winner. I'll call you Michael Winner from now on. That's it. So, sorry it's not a huge amount to report, but trust me, it's taken me many, many man-hours to get to this stage. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.